just because many of you were asking for an actual example where the second syllable in einen is not so clearly said by a native speaker, here is such an example.
Einen Schnuller kann man ab einem bestimmten Alter wegwerfen, den Daumen nicht.
You can throw away a pacifier after a certain age, but not your thumb. Just another banal sentence. Takes 20 or so syllables to say. One more.
Einen Schnuller kann man ab einem bestimmten Alter wegwerfen, den Daumen nicht. Einen Schnuller kann man.
Now, my ear only really picked up what I wrote the first time. And I've gotten this right before, but I just forgot. Ein Schnuller. It's incorrect. It's ein Schnuller, with either the second syllable implied or just really subtle. I'm not really sure, but you have to know, of course, that Schnuller, pacifier, is a masculine word, so that the indefinite singular masculine accusative article is einen, not ein. This is a case where grammar helps you here. Knowledge or judgment helps you actually correct what you only imperfectly sense. So this is actually an incentive to learn grammar, not for its own sake, but to hear better, to pick up more of what's said in a conversation. Really, couldn't you have understood what he said, Schnuller, without knowing the gender of the noun? Because gender of nouns, that's an absurd concept that English speakers have overcome almost completely. So, yeah. Open question, I suppose. But I think a better knowledge, two things. I think a better knowledge of the scaffolding by which particular things like Schnuller are introduced, I think that's pretty important. And knowledge of differences in general, subtle differences, is a critical thing. Knowledge between different shades of gray is critical, even if you don't care about masculine versus feminine versus neuter, or whatever. We don't care about that. Or well, maybe you do care about singular versus plural. Maybe noticing the difference between singular versus plural helped you get the transcribe correctly when you weren't sure whether ist or sind was said for is or are. And in what other cases are differences important to notice? Leave it at that. And I can't come up with a financial metaphor for stock market investing, but a gap or a subtle market inefficiency with high-speed trading. Throw the metaphors around. Takeaway. This is a case where knowledge of grammar, I begrudgingly admit, will actually help you hear. And if you don't hear it, you'll transcribe it well. I do think that after months, if not years of practice and being punished, therefore bearing in mind this distinction, I think you will actually subtly hear, maybe not a whole syllable, but a kind of additional end sound at the end. Be the same.